because I think it's important that disc golf has different people winning a lot and a lot of people in contention. And I think right now we're at a spot where there's about 5 people in there. I would say like Paul, Ricky, Eagle, Kevin, and then like you throw in a 5th of like a mix of people probably. Does that sound about right to you?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's good. I'd like to see that number. Like, that's not a bad thing for disc golf because it makes new people, they don't have too many people to worry about. They know who are the guys of the sport. And that's not a bad thing. I'd like to see that number be like 10. I think that's a sweet spot. There's like 10 guys that are like the guys. And every once in a while, somebody else will sneak in there and win. But there's like 10 guys that are the guys that are winning. I think that's a good place for disc golf to like grow and become popular and like have its guys, Because that's how it is. That's how it is on the PGA Tour. I mean, you've got your guys.
Golf though was dying. Like no one cared about golf until you had Tiger back and being competitive.
Right.
So is parity really actually a good thing for a sport?
Tiger, I don't think Tiger's. It's tough to say whether it was Tiger's dominance. I think that has a lot to do with it, but I think the way that Tiger played the game was different too, and I think that attributes a lot to that. The way he played with a certain kind of passion and finesse, and just like he just attacked the game differently than anybody else did at that time. He made it exciting to watch. That's why people like Tiger. Nowadays,
I'm saying recently when Tiger, like 2018 Tiger comeback.
Golf's excitement, like yes, the ratings
golf was dead as a sport.
That's not true.
The ratings and everything was trash.
They weren't trash.
Yes, they were. Compared to normal ratings in golf, 3-4 years ago, prior to the Tiger return, everyone was saying as soon as Tiger came back, how the ratings,
Well, the ratings are higher, but I'm saying I don't think they were like. Yes, golf with Tiger on TV is always higher ratings, but I wouldn't say it was trash. Like, what are you calling trash? Like, it still gets a lot of viewers.
I mean, I don't know what the exact numbers were.
Like, they're still getting tons of revenue and have great television network deals.
Revenue, yes. Deals, yes. Viewers, no. I mean,
you have to have viewers to get those deals.
Not necessarily. When you have a long history, you can be like, oh, well, it was a down year, but the FedEx Cup isn't going to pull their funding after 1 or 2 down years.
I don't know
I'm just saying,
what you're talking
about. All I'm saying is the news articles, I don't follow golf super closely, but the news articles I saw, the headings were when Tiger returned, how he saved the viewership of golf because their ratings were so bad beforehand and golf was on this decline, basically in a downward death spiral.
Golf has been on a downward spiral, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a spiral. I'd call it more of like a slow slide because it's not as popular with the youth anymore because it's not accessible, and that's where disc golf thrives. But I don't know that it's a downward spiral. What I'm saying
is like when they had the parity without one guy.
Okay, but my point is, I'm trying to get to here, is that like this era of golf, the only thing, without Tiger, the only thing that makes it excitement is like it has a young core. Okay, so we had like Rory, Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler, like all those guys came in while Tiger was gone, and they're the ones that kept it afloat. Like, and Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, those guys were in there too. Like, that was without having that one guy. If you don't have that one guy dominating like Tiger, you have to have a young core to like keep it exciting. So I don't know which model's better for the sport. I don't know if Paul winning everything's better.
I think the young model helps the sport grow, but the Paul winning's more marketable. If that makes any sense. Or even
for him.
No. For outside sponsors, because you want to look at where you can put your money, right? And you can put your money where A, views are, and B, if Nike, would they rather sponsor a player or would they rather sponsor a tournament? Right now, I think they'd rather sponsor a player because what tournaments are you going to sponsor? This year, obviously, the Pro Tour is the choice, but in the future, it's like there's 2 Elite Series tours, plus there's majors, plus there's this, plus there's... Yeah. Or I could just sponsor one player, and wherever he goes, he's wearing my brand. But one thing also to bring up that I think goes not against parity per se, but is the Macbeth bump that we've seen in views when it comes to Jomez, Central Coast, Gatekeeper, whoever. Go look at their views on their channel. Ones that have Paul's name in the title have more views.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
So more people are watching when Paul's playing.
I think too, like the Paul dominance might just look different from now on than it used to. Like, it used to be in disc golf, like if Paul Macbeth was on a dominant stretch, he literally was winning everything. When Tiger Woods was on a dominant stretch, he wasn't winning everything. He won if you win 5 or 6 times on the PGA Tour year, you had an unreal season. Like if you win more than one major, crazy season. So like in disc golf, it might just mean, Paul's always in the top 5 every time, and he comes away with like, 5 or 6 tour victories each year, and that's what dominance looks like.
Well, maybe too, maybe my argument against Parity doesn't make as much sense because as long as Paul's pushing the top, even if he's not always winning, that might be the best case scenario for the sport.
Well,
where you still have the biggest name, because Tiger coming back, right, in golf was a big deal regardless of if he was competing or not, because his name. So Paul's created the name for himself to the point where he's the most marketable. We can talk all you want about how good Ricky, Eagle, those players are compared to Paul, because right now they're pretty darn close. When rubber meets the road, James Conrad Conrad has had a little bit of an off year, but even like Simon, Eagle, Paul, Ricky, when rubber meets the road, we're talking a few strokes here and there, and it could swing anyway. Right. If you're a betting man, you're not feeling as good this year as you are in 2015 betting on Paul.
Yeah.
But when the rubber meets the road in the opposite direction, when it comes to marketing, no one touches Paul. When it comes to marketing, if I'm a company and I want to sell a disc, and if manufacturer sponsorships didn't exist, I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying. And I'm a company and I can pick one player to put their name on a disc to sell it, I'm going Paul every time.
Yeah.
Because, you can look at sales numbers on Infinite's top 20 or anything like that.
Well, just
Paul's
the ability,
name's going to move
just
the disc.
ability to put 5-time world champion on a disc.
It's not, yeah.
It sells itself a bit.
Well, I don't know if necessarily the 5-time world champion.
To the casual fan, though, who just sees this guy has more world championships than anybody else, and it's on a disc, and he throws it.
I might look him up, but I'm not buying it because of that. It's not necessarily.
If I'm new into disc golf, I might.
Well, I'm not. I never bought a T-Bird because I had some Ken Climo 12-time world champ. I looked up Ken Climo.
That's where you and I are different.
I looked up Ken Climo to find out who the heck he was, but I never bought a disc because his name was on it. But I'm saying Paul's 5-time world championships have been documented, and the way he's carried himself and pushed the sport is what's selling the disc more than just the little 5-time thing on it. To where if you put a disc with just Macbeth and big letters on it, like the Tour Series Luna, you could sell the heck out of those. All I'm saying is having Paul current state of disc golf, having Paul on a lead card or whatever, whether he wins or not, and almost possibly we could talk about whether he doesn't win. That could be the best case scenario. Having Paul attract viewers to see a Kevin Jones win GMC and open people's eyes to other players. Maybe that's what's best for the sport as a whole, because now there might be from this weekend watching Paul players tune in, newer players, discover Paul, tune in to watch Paul play, see Kevin Jones tear up. They are now Kevin Jones fans. Or maybe they're now Eagle fans from 2 weeks ago. That is where parity could be good for the sport. I just talked myself out of my own thinking, but
sure did.
I think if Paul's on the lead card is the key because that draws the viewers in.
Yeah, that makes sense.